This podcast episode references strong language as well as strong drink.
Each language has a poetical atmosphere and sounds. So I choose what I need.
Do you consider learning to play a new instrument, learning a new language?
Absolutely, I really do. I feel like each instrument brings out a different aspect of my musicality, so it's like a different dialect, very much so. And it's an amazing cultural experience to begin to understand various languages and see how different cultures see the world. And I feel like that also happens. Don't you find? Maybe I'm generalizing, but I think that certain instruments, certain personality types are drawn to certain instruments. Have you noticed that at all? Like trombone players.
Welcome to Modo di Bere, the podcast about local drinks and local sayings. I'm your host, Rose Thomas Bannister. Today, I have a very special interview with two incredible musicians, including Ersilia Prosperi, who composed the Modo di Bere theme music. If you've been enjoying the music for this podcast as much as I have, you'll be interested to know that the theme song is called Palle di Natale, and the incidental music you'll often hear in the middle of the show is from a song called La Stanzetta. Both songs are from the album Pisces Crisis by the band O, which means egg in the Sardinian dialect. As if talking with Ersilia weren't cool enough, we have a second guest today, the legendary Amy Denio, who plays in O and also produces their records. These two incredible people have juicy biographies, so pour yourself a special drink and settle in for this introduction. O is an Italian sextet led by Ersilia, and they sing in English, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, and Sardo. They'll sing in multiple languages within the same song, even at the same time. There are even more instruments involved than there are languages. Ersilia plays the trumpet and the ukulele. Her work ranges from improvisation and alt jazz to songwriting, collaborating with artists like Mecli Hadero, Antonella Ruggiero, Orchestra Lato, Jessica Luri, Emily Hay, Giancarlo Sciaffini, and many, many others. She composes and performs music for films, contemporary opera, and dance, and has showcased her work in Berlin, New York, Madrid, and Seattle. And Ersilia, of course, also collaborates with Amy Denio, who is one of my favorite people I've ever met, an absolute legend of creativity, and the inspiring person who embodies the power of going for your dreams. Amy has a 4-octave vocal range and plays guitar, bass, alto sax, clarinet, and accordion. She composes for modern dance, film, theater, and TV. A member of Seattle Jazz Hall of Fame, she has written more than 500 works and has produced over 60 recordings, solo and in collaboration with artists worldwide. She's been operating her own recording studio, record label, and publishing company, Spoot Music, since 1986 with the release of her first cassette, No Bones. She is president of the all-women Tipton Sax Quartet, vice president of the Seattle Composers Alliance, and has performed and recorded in the Balkan group Culture Shock since 1999. Mostly self-taught, she has developed her unique musical style by collaborating with musicians and artists worldwide. Like Ersilia, Amy also speaks several languages. I cannot wait to talk to both of you about your multilingual, multi-instrumental band, OU. But first, I would love for each of you to share a local drink and a local saying that has stayed with you from your home or from anywhere your adventures have taken you.
Bottoms up.
Quando si beve, c'è un modo di dire rispetto... No, yes, I know, wait, aspetta, I don't have the glass. Wait, second. Okay, this is in Spanish. When you can say, "Chi no apoya, no folla." When you do the brindisi, no? Yes? Cheers. Quien no apoya, no folla.
What does that mean in English?
No, it's not very, very fine, raffinato, very elegant. It means who doesn't put the glass in the table doesn't fuck.
And that actually reminds me of a brindisi that I invented that probably should never be said. I learned some bad words in Italian, and one of them is Sicilian dialect, and the word is minchia. And so I was in Sicily thinking, probably they don't, normally in Italy you say chin chin, which is the sound of the glass, ching, like it rings, right? Chin chin. So it's a very onomatopoetic word. And I thought, well, maybe they wouldn't want to say chin chin because that's Italian and Sicilians are very proud of their unique and beautiful culture. So what rhymes with chin? And then I remember this word minchia, which is a kind of a nasty word that generally women don't say, right? Anyway, and I turned to my girlfriend in this bar in Catania, and I said, "Mean." I'm holding it like mean, and she understood instantly, and she hit my glass and said, "Yeah." So it's a very participatory way for two people to say a bad word at this. It's a collaborative swear word.
Ah.
That only I say. Yes, call and response.
I'm so glad that we've established that we're going to mark this episode of the podcast as explicit, because I've been waiting for my chance to say the parolaccia, the bad word that I accidentally invented in Italian, which my coworkers in Italian wine thought was hilarious. So in the wine world, we spend a good part of our day taking our favorite drink and spitting it out into a spittoon, which is a word that is almost never used in English. It evokes the Old West, the cowboys in the movie spitting the tobacco into the large urn. There is a word for spittoon in Italian, which is sputacchiera. So I came to my boss and wanted to show off my Italian practice. And I said, I know what this is called. This is a sputanacchiera. And everyone just died because this translates basically to, we decided, spit bitch or bitch spit. So anyway, great. No, there's so many beautiful, beautiful bad words in Italian, and definitely I'm always interested in them. You do have to be you kind of have to, warm up to it usually. So I'm glad we just established the rapport immediately and just dove right in. As you know, I'm really interested in local languages, specifically the dialects of Italy. So I would love to hear more about why OU chose this Sardinian word to name your band and how you came to sing in the Sardinian language. Is that where you're from originally, Ersilia?
Yes. The word is O, with the article is so in Sardinian dialect, and I love. My mother is from Sardinian, so is my root, my spiritual and ancestral root comes from Sardinia. And in the band, we were also with Martina Fadda and Sabrina Coda that grew up in Sardinia. So we started to choose words and for the meaning that is the egg, and also for the how it sounds the word, we choose O, but also for the meaning about respect to our music. Our music. That
We started whenever there's any
Yes.
whenever there's
Yes.
an OU in any word,
and we use a lot.
pronounce
Yes, the
O.
court, our court.
The court. We have a royal court
Yes,
because there's OU
it's
in
very
it.
useful.
Anyway.
This name for everything.
Ci fare ridere. At a certain point, we had a keyboard player, and we still do. And he's from a noble family in Rome. And he's very noble, And we noticed that he was so noble that really he didn't participate too much in the moving of equipment or any like kind of servile actions. He would just observe nobly. And at a certain player turned to him and said, "Hey, Marchese." and everyone laughed like he's a marquis. That's really great. Like that's actually perfect. So then we began to think, well, so if he's marquis, then what is the bass player? And he said, well, someone, maybe Ersilia, said, okay, well, he's the prince. And so then the drummer said, oh, well, if he's the prince, I'm the illegitimate prince, principe legittimo. And and so bit by bit, and then the lead singer was a marquesina because she's about 4 feet tall. She's tiny. And then and I became Regina. So they don't call me in this group when we're together. They never use my actual Christian name. They call me Regina.
Queen.
Hey, Regina, Queen. And so obviously Ersilia, as the idea, the main egg behind everything, she she is the king, Rexus. I call her Rexus, and it's fake Latinification of that's like
Sire.
royal. So it's a royal court, and so anyone who gets involved with us in any manner gets nominated to on some position.
Yes.
So we have a new singer, and she plays the theremin impeccably. She plays violin. She sings impeccably, and so she's the maga. She's like she's a magician.
Would it be okay to play a clip of the song called
So Abbatado, yes. The song is also gave the name of the album, Scrambled, and is a monologue. Is the egg that speaks about its life and its desires.
Scrambled here and there. The egg doesn't understand anything anymore. It wakes up not knowing where it is. Every day it risks being boiled, eaten raw, or even scrambled. Its greatest dream is to meet another egg. It is hoping for a better future. With a freshly met omelet, it would like to be hard-boiled, yes, strong and stable, like a hard-boiled egg. The hard-boiled egg could stay in boiling water for 4 hours. Yes, when it faces the risk of exploding. However, this would be a better end than to be scrambled. And this, our scrambled egg without seasoning, is bland. But on the other hand, its friend, the hard-boiled egg, also without seasoning, is absolutely delicious.
In the Sardinian part, it say that he wants to be an hard-boiled egg because he's a scrambled egg, and he wants to finally meet a very beautiful frittata tortilla. I don't know the word frittata, and so be it will be finally happy and quiet and strong.
To be embraced by a frittata.
Yes.
So-
Yeah. Cioè, so abbattato che de sì, so a tostu, ispera da in mezzo solte cund una gatta. Cioè, it wish an happier destiny with e tortilla, come si dice, frittata. Cioè, vabbè, it's absurd. It's naive. But it's a philosophical issue. There are lots of words in this song in English to spread the concept in the world because Sardinian, not everybody knows Sardinian dialect.
Well, I love the way that you sing in multiple different languages, even within the same song. So tell me the story of, how did you form and why did you decide to sing in so many different languages?
This started because I play trumpet and I started in my life writing composing only for instruments, and in at a certain point,
a certain time.
I thought that the words and the language is very important to communicate, apart the music. So I started to write also the words, but I'm not a singer. I can't sing. I sing, but I'm not a singer. I don't have this. Come si dice? Non sono attaccata. This specific
You're not attached to being
Italian
a singer.
language to communicate.
Yeah.
Cioè, each language has a poetical atmosphere and sounds. So I choose what I need. Choose a language for what I need. Now I'm starting a new project in Spain and new compositions, and I want to use also German. This is very difficult because the singers have many problems with different languages. So to meet someone that join my music and my compositions with this come si dice, leggerezza, also with the lightness.
Ease.
Yes, it's a little bit difficult, but I continue. Yes.
I wanted to speak to the two of you specifically about this because you're both multi-instrumentalists as well. Amy, when I met you at your house in Seattle, I remembered there was a visiting academic from Scandinavia who had come to Seattle to talk to you about your experience as a multi-instrumentalist. And as I've been studying different languages, one of the things that I observed in episode 2 with Dr. Rebecca Lawrence was that your voice changes. Not just the word sounds, but people's voices get higher or lower in all different ways when they switch to changing different language. So, Ersilia, the fact that you are using it as a compositional tool is marvelous. I love this. Amy, I want to ask you, I guess, about you're a just wildly instrumental. You play so many different instruments. Do you consider learning to play a new instrument, learning a new language?
Absolutely, I really do. I feel like each instrument brings out a different aspect of my musicality, so it's like a different dialect, very much so. And I remember when I first started coming to Europe, I had studied French in high school. And when I got to France and I couldn't speak a word, I was terrified. And I really thought I had no capacity for language. But very slowly over time, I started recognizing words in different languages. And anyway, so now I love language because each one, like Ersilia was saying, each language brings out a different filter through which people see the world. And it's an amazing cultural experience to begin to understand various languages and see how different cultures see the world. And I feel like that also happens. Don't you find? Maybe I'm generalizing, but I think that certain instruments, certain personality types are drawn to certain instruments. Have you noticed that at all? Like trombone players.
I love trombone players. My husband plays the trombone. His parents are in their 80s, and they met in the trombone section in 8th grade. And we have a neighbor who we recently became friends with. Hi, John Good. And he is so sweet and nice. And of course, he's a trombone player, so I apparently have an affinity for them. Amy, how many languages do you speak at this point?
Well, I dream in Italian, so I'd say that I speak it pretty well. And I do speak passable French and German and un iota di español. I speak like restaurant Spanish, I like to say. And and then I like to be polite in a lot of Asian languages, but just a few words here and
Rose,
there.
I want to say that this that I was when I was a child fan of Amy and her music. So I have this feeling with the different using of languages because I I also I am her fan. And all the music I listened when I was a child, it was full of languages. Also the work with the Città Invisibili di Italo Calvino
Hmm.
and
Oh yeah.
Ambarabacicci Coccò, Salvatore, cioè this
Hmm.
come si dice approccio, this use of the languages with lightness, yes, without
Do you
vergüenza, without come si dice
effort?
vergogna,
Oh, without
without
shame.
shame,
Yes,
yes,
without
shameless,
shame.
yes,
But look here,
we can
here's
we,
Amy.
Isn't it frega?
Amy,
Who cares?
Amy having this moment thinking, I have no capacity for languages. I mean, talk about a self-limiting belief that was wrong,
Right?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you were wrong.
It took a long time to get over
that
it.
negative thought was completely untrue. Now you dream in Italian. Look at you. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
But you know what I remembered later on was when I was 10 years old, there was a book fair in my elementary school, and I was looking at the different books, and the only book I bought was an Italian
Ah.
book that had the picture of La Luna. Oh, La Luna. Even when I was 10 years old, I was attracted
Ah.
to Italian. Isn't that amazing?
How-
Like later I realized,
Magic
oh my God,
queen.
that's incredible.
Amy, tell me the story of how you first came to Italy and began to learn Italian.
Well, I first came to Italy playing in a group called the Tone Dogs, my trio with two basses and drums. And we had been already touring in Europe a little bit, mostly in France and Germany, and for some reason, a lot in Central Europe and Eastern Europe. So we had, and then finally, this postman from Monfalcone said, "I am Tullio." And he sent a fax to my day job at Muzak. I quickly grabbed it so no one could see. And he's like, "I am a postman in Italy, and I invite you to a festival in a castle
Ah.
in Nova Gorica, Nuova Gorizia, and right on the Slovenian border." So for the first time, we were going to go to Italy, and we had just been kind of suffering. We're vegetarians, and it's hard to find vegetarian food in 1990, in the former Eastern Bloc, right? And the coffee was terrible, and everyone was kind of depressed. And we came to Italy, and here's Tullio's brought us to lunch, and the sun was shining, and the sea was shining, and the atmosphere was beautiful, and the food was amazing, and the coffee was incredible, and everyone was laughing. It was just like this entering heaven. I was like, what is this place? I'd never been to Italy, and here I just felt this sense of being alive, and so I wanted to know what people were laughing at. What was this sense of humor, that was so attractive to me. And so I began to study the language, and I discovered that I share this same very dark sense of humor, which is that we try to control things, maybe, but inevitably things go wrong. And ultimately, we don't have control over everything. And so what do? You have to laugh. You have to just let go and just be and move forward and flow. And so I realized this is exactly my nature, is this kind of cultural attitude of like you look at other cultures, like for example in Germany, things are so well organized and everything is precise, and the most common word. This is something that really was an insight for me. Like the first word I recognized in German was genau. And so I was like, what? I heard everyone say, genau. And people were so excited when they would say this word genau. And I was like, what does it mean? And they said, well, it means exactly. And I was like, oh, that's so perfect. That is so perfect for German. Like it reflects the German culture and this dedication to technique and order and all those things that you find in German.
Genau.
So in Italian culture, I don't know what I actually did a survey and someone said, well, I think magari could be the most common word. And that's something like one hopes, if only, like, or hopefully, right? Magari, right?
Uh,
And so it's just this, you dream, you're like, I have this vision and maybe it'll happen. Most likely not, but with any luck, we'll have dinner tonight.
I love this.
So-
This makes, I completely relate. Obviously, I'm now very devoted to my own Italian-inspired project. This makes me think of one of my favorite Italian sayings that I use all the time, especially when I'm traveling and things go wrong, which is "Una gatta frettolosa fa I gattini ciechi." So the stressed cat gives birth to blind kittens. And I know it's sad, but the funny thing about it's sad, but it's dark, but it's funny. And I've heard it in several different dialects. Actually, at this point, it's a little mini collection in my lexicon of Modo di Bere. What I like about it is I actually think I misunderstood it a little bit, because I think it would just translate to haste makes waste. We say in English, if you hurry, the result is not good. But I just used it more widely to connect to this aspect of Italian character like you were describing. It's just like, and it's not that Italians don't get stressed out and mad. They do. Just whoom, red face, steam blowing out the ears, and then everything's fine. There's this release of the stress. But as far as, and generally when things go wrong, you can't get too upset. It's not going to help. And when I'm missing a plane or something, especially when I'm traveling to or from Italy, I try to get into that mindset and just like, negata frettolosa. It's like, it's not going to help. You could get really upset, but it's not going to help. Let me ask this question. As you move from culture to culture with each of these languages in which you're composing, are there kind of windows into the soul of a certain locality?
Okay, for example, there is this song in the album Scrambled, and the name is Yenji. And Yenji is the spirit of the forest for the Pygmy people, Aka. And the song speaks about a crisis, as many songs, as many compositions. And at the end, there is this long chorus.
Yeah,
Course, and in Pygmy. So I studied for a few months the ethnographic dictionary from French to Pygmies, looking for some little words, for words to write this choir. Okay. Choir. And also there is I want to say this, there is a political song also, because the WWF is the world, come si chiama?
World Wildlife
Yes,
Fund?
push out
World
the
Wildlife
Pygmy
Fund.
people from the forest to protect the nature. Cioè, to protect the nature and the forest, they push out the Pygmy people. And to me, this is a very heavy. And we use this song to speak about pygmies. Yes, we use the music also in a political way, and nothing. But it's a spiritual song also.
But it's in Spanish and Pygmy.
Yes,
it's in two languages.
Yes.
Arriba y abajo y a tu lado, se acerca y estalla, desapareces. Ella no crea vacío total cuando se va de ti. Vuelves, viene y va y regresa, luego agradable, infantil juego. Proceso simple que escuchar, pararse y observar. muse lembo mu bobuneka muse bobuneka muse lembo mu bobuneka muse bobuneka muse lembo mu bobuneka muse.
This is so marvelous and interesting, and it also ties into a lot of what this project is about, because the connections that I'm making between local drinks and local language, when I realized that I wanted to bring them together, it wasn't just, oh, I like both of these things, I'll make a show about them. I was really beginning to see, especially in Italy, where there are so many different indigenous grape varieties, hundreds of them, and also such an amazing diversity of local languages. I saw these connections a lot of times in preservation efforts, right? With grapes that are going to go extinct because they became less popular and everyone pulled them up to plant Merlot. And then the same thing happens, with a lot of political connections, usually with dialect. People are assimilating into a different culture, and they're, the children are, they're told not to learn the parents' language in immigration scenarios, or, certainly there are many examples through history where, people's dialects are suppressed for many different political reasons, and, or to lose a plant, a whole history of winemaking, or, because of the vagaries of whatever. There's another song I really love, because it uses more than one language. Maybe I could, if you don't mind me playing lots of your music on the show so that people can hear it. I particularly love Non c'è niente da lavare. And I wonder if you could talk to me a little bit the story of this song.
Now, this song was Monique Mizrahi wrote the words of this song, and started from a family, come si dice, problem in my family, but is a metaphor about the world that is very, very, very dirty.
Corrupt.
Yes, but at the end speaks about cigarettes.
Yes, and of course, non c'è niente da lavare means there's nothing to wash.
Non c'è niente da
there's
lavare.
nothing to wash.
Yes.
Everything's clean.
Everything is
nothing
clean.
to wash.
Everything's fine. Nothing to see here.
C'est important de le voir quand je m'ennuie ou quand je bois beaucoup de cours. J'ai essayé, mais ce n'est pas facile. Qu'est-ce que j'ai fait sans ma cigarette? J'ai arrêté, vous ne comprenez.
Non c'è niente da lavare, non c'è niente da lavare, non c'è niente da lavare, non c'è niente da lavare.
very ironic,
So, Amy, what's next for you? Can you tell us a little bit about your latest album?
Well, the newest exciting thing is that I recently was in Rome working with O on their third album, and I'm really excited because we're almost finished mixing it, and I'm going to be putting it out on my record label in collaboration with a fantastic label from Rome, Folderol Records, Marco Contini. And so this is super exciting because, again, Ersilia, I have to say, is my very favorite composer in the entire world. What
Regia.
what she does, I'm serious, so serio. So she reaches this level of beauty, playfulness, depth, political relativity. Everything. I mean, there's so many levels of this music that just resonate deeply with me and have for a long time. So I am really thrilled to be putting out this record. It'll be, at least on my end, it will be digitally available on Bandcamp through the O site and also through Spoot Music. And so I look forward to promoting it. Do we have a title? Come si chiama
No, maybe
il terzo
you
disco?
said Uranio, maybe. You
Uranio.
said
Okay.
Uranio,
Yeah,
maybe
there's a,
Uranio.
yeah.
What does
Yeah,
this
that's
mean?
true. That's right. Okay. So it might be called uranium because NATO has a huge military base in
Yes.
Sardinia, and there's awful with a lot of nuclear fallout. I mean, they're just doing war games all the time, and the local population is starting to get sick from
Will we ever
uranium.
learn?
And
It's
Torio,
really
also
awful.
Torio. Yes, also from
Yeah.
metalli pesanti,
heavy
heavy metals.
Yeah, heavy metals. Yeah. Radioactive
Used
metals.
from the
And so,
Army, US Army also a lot, but
yep.
also German and Israel Army are 2 times a year are there, and they
They're doing war
war games
games
in the
off the coast
water,
of
in the
Sardinia.
air, in the ground
Speaking
for 1
speaking of
month.
In the ground.
language, what
Yeah,
a
it's
horrible
awful.
phrase, war games. Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
Um
Ugh,
so I want
Yeah.
to make sure to let our listeners know how to purchase OU's recordings at oumusic.bandcamp.com. Amy Denio is also on Bandcamp, amydenio.bandcamp.com. You can find out more about her work at amydenio.me and more about Ersilia's projects at ersiliaprosperi.com. I'll include all these links in the notes for the show. Now, as I was recording the Italian language trailer for the podcast, it was very stiff and slow because I was trying so hard to be correct, and I listened back to it. It just sounded terrible. I recorded it again, and it sounded great, and I was trying to figure out what had changed besides having a chance to practice a little bit, and I realized I was moving my hands and I was making these gestures, and I thought I had this revelation actually that the reason the Italian speakers, you can't pronounce it without making some of those movements.
Yes.
It's
Molto
so
bene.
beautiful to me. So I felt very Italian in this moment, but I put something in there which was, I was saying in Italian, I really do live in New York. You might be hearing my neighbor upstairs playing the saxophone. Now, I took it out because the recording was great and you couldn't hear in the background music, but I have this little clip of me saying in Italian, I live in New York because you can hear my upstairs neighbor playing the saxophone. And I didn't have time, but I wanted to send it before this interview. I wondered if that little audio clip might spark some composition. So I was wondering if I could commission a short compositional idea around this little clip of sound. Yeah.
Ok, yeah. Ersilia che stava suonando il sassofono, il vicino, e lei diceva, ma magari si può sentire anche il mio vicino mentre io sto parlando.
Ok.
E lei vuole che noi componiamo qualcosa ispirato di questo tema, che c'è chiasso, ma non è proprio chiasso, è musica, c'è un vicino. No.
Ma
qualsiasi
adesso?
cosa.
No.
No.
Dopo.
That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your
Rose.
time. Yeah.
I hope
Thank
to
you.
see you soon.
Yes.
Here on there.
Sure enough, a few weeks later, after requesting this commission from Ersilia, I was on a plane in Milan and I received an email just before the plane took off, which was the song that you're about to hear, a little piece that Ersilia composed just for us here at Modo di Bere with the audio from the outtake from the Italian trailer. This podcast, if you hadn't quite realized, is available also in Italian. You can listen to it in English and Italian. It's called Modo di Bere Italiano. It's a separate podcast. You can find it wherever you listen to podcasts. If you speak Italian, if you want to speak Italian, you can listen to the episodes back to back. I have the same guests. Usually they're not an exact direct translation unless the person isn't bilingual in these two languages. In that case, I translate the episode and recreate those interviews with the voice actor. But in any case, it might be a fun language learning tool. So if you're an English speaker who's interested in learning Italian, you can check that podcast out. And so here's a little lesson for you right now. The text of the song that you're about to hear, without further ado, composed by Ersilia. The meaning in English is, I really do live in New York. Perhaps you can hear my upstairs neighbor who plays the saxophone. Vivo davvero a New York. Forse puoi sentire il mio vicino di sopra che suona il sassofono. Vivo davvero a New York. Puoi sentire che suona. Il mio vicino. Vicino. Forse puoi sentire che suona, che suona, che suona, che suona, che suona, che suona, che suona. I really hope that you enjoyed this interview with OU. I hope you go to OU Music, oumusic.bandcamp.com, and buy all of their records. Every song is a completely new adventure. Thank you so much for listening. And wherever you go, whatever you like to drink, always remember to enjoy your life and to never stop learning. Follow Modo di Bere on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok for even more unique and encouraging drinks and language content. If you'd love for the show to continue and grow, support Modo di Bere on Patreon and unlock bonus episodes. Find out more at mododibere.com, where you can also read the blog. Music for the podcast was composed by Ersilia Prosperi and performed by the band OU. You can purchase their recordings at oumusic.bandcamp.com.